first and your contact would be created in the system. So something like this. So the first page would be the form. Once the person clicks on continue, the form would be submitted, a contact would be created, and then they can book an appointment. So you will always capture your leads, and accordingly, if there are any workflows, any automations that you want to put on that particular lead generation, you can always do that. Next, we have new payment methods added in calendar. So we now have NMI, Stripe, authorized.net, and in Stripe, you can also accept Google Pay and Apple Pay if you've enabled that. So these are the payment methods that are added right now, and we would soon be adding Razor Pay as well. So any payment that is available in payments or forms would now be available in calendars as well. Next, we release the time zone abbreviation for appointments. So anytime you see an appointment start time, you will see the time zone in which you're currently viewing that appointment in. So on your appointment list view, your appointment modal, in your contacts page, on your calendar view, anywhere where there is a appointment start time, you would be able to identify if you're viewing it in your business location's time zone or your user's time zone, just to reduce any confusion as to what is the start time, what is the time zone. So this is live on production right now. Right. So team member assignment. So something that was requested heavily from all our users is the team member assignment. So this basically has two parts to it. One is the reschedule preference, and the second is the preference for a new appointment. So here, what essentially would happen is reschedule preference will work for a round robin calendar, irrespective of the widget order. So anytime somebody reschedules an appointment from the booking widget, you get to choose whether that appointment should be reassigned to a new team member through a round robin, or should the same appointment owner be kept for the reschedule appointment. So anyone who, any business use case where they want to keep the same appointment owner once a lead is assigned to that particular user, can essentially choose the keep the same appointment owner. Whereas someone who doesn't really, for someone who it doesn't really matter, they can always reassign it through round robin. And the second in this is the team member assignment for new appointments. So here, essentially, what would happen is anytime a contact books an appointment, we do update the contacts assigned user, right? If you have turned it on in your settings. So if this is toggled on, from the second appointment onwards, for any new appointment of the same contact, so by same contact, I mean if they're using the same email ID or the same phone number, the same assigned users available slots would be shown to the contact, and they would be booked with that assigned user. So one prerequisite for this is that the form has to be first, because only when the form is first will we get to understand who the lead is. And once we capture the email ID of the lead, we will essentially check the contact's assigned user. If there is no assigned user, it will just do a round robin. But if there is an assigned user and that assigned user is a part of that calendar, then the available slot shown would be for the contact's assigned user. And you can find this settings under round robin calendar, meeting details, and in the advanced settings option near the team members.
And then Stacy's asking about the default. The default, as far as I know, is off. So it's just going to behave as a round robin unless you were to enable this, right?
Correct. So for reschedule, it will be reassigned through round robin, and for new appointment, this would be toggled off. So the same behavior that the system performed before the release of this feature.
Okay.
Awesome. Moving on, there was a small enhancement in terms of group deletion. So earlier, whenever you deleted a group, any calendars in that group also got deleted along with their appointments. Now you get to choose whether you just want to delete a group or you want to delete the associated calendars as well. When you do click on, you do check the box, so all your calendars in that group would be deleted as well as their appointments. But if you choose to keep the calendars intact without deleting them, they would just get removed from the group and would then be unassigned in the calendars tab. Next, we have the rich text editor for calendar description. Again, something that was heavily requested. So now in the description, you have the ability to add bold, bullet points, hyperlinks, You can change your text color, your background color. You can add different paragraphs and headings, as well as decide if it should be center aligned, left aligned, right aligned. So whatever changes you do make here would be shown in your description. So any hyperlinks, you can choose whether you want it to open in a new window. You will have your bullet points. You can change the color based on your brand's color, and you can make all those configurations from the calendar description. So this would be available for all calendar types. Next, we have the multiple meeting locations. So this has also been released, wherein for a Neo widget with an event calendar or a round robin calendar with one user, you can configure multiple meeting locations. And say you've configured 3 locations, that is a phone call, a Google Meet, and a Zoom. So on the booking widget, when the booker is booking an appointment, they can choose what is their preferred meeting location, and accordingly, that location would be updated in your appointment modal, in all your meeting links. So whenever we are sending out any confirmation email, whatever is the meeting location that the booker has selected, that would be updated here. And as an extension to this, we would soon be adding a meeting location wherein the booker can tell you their preferred. So basically, a custom input box where they can just put in their house address or their, say, office address, and then that would be updated as the meeting location of that particular appointment.
Tony, do you have a question on that?
Yeah. Are they in the future, are you going to be able to assign buffer times for each of those locations? So for example, if you're having a Zoom meeting, it can happen on time, but if the next meeting is going to be on location somewhere at a coffee shop, obviously you want to be able to have a buffer for on location meetings to allow you to drive there and drive back before you're available for your next Zoom meeting or phone call.
Right. So in terms of buffers are still available today, which you can add. Does your question mean that dynamically, if it's a online meeting, we don't add a buffer, and if it's a physical meeting, we do add a buffer?
Yes.
Got it. So currently, this wasn't really planned, but we can definitely take a look at it and see how we can try to incorporate it. But I would really appreciate if we could just put it on the ideas board, and then we can take it ahead from there.
Okay.
Thank you. Next, we have the cancellation and reschedule policies that went out. So this is essentially you getting to choose when your cancellation or reschedule links will expire. So say you don't want any last minute cancellations or reschedules to your meetings, any changes, you can configure it from the notifications and additional options tab, wherein you get to choose, okay, my link should expire 6 hours before the meeting, 12 hours before the meeting. And this time is basically according to your business time zone. So according to your business's start time, whenever, so your business time zone start time, whenever somebody does open your link, and if they have already crossed this window, then they would see an expired message on the link, and essentially they would have to contact the business owner for any changes. With this, as an extension to this, we would also be incorporating the cancellation and reschedule policy, wherein you can put in your custom policy, and that custom text would be displayed in your emails or on your booking widget, so that users are aware of, okay, if I have to cancel, I can't cancel it in the last 6 hours. So you can put your cancellation and reschedule policies in that as well.
Charge for cancellation if that is something that is set up in the system.
Could you come again, please?
So once the link expires, right, and one of your policies is that, you know, if you cancel within 6 hours, you actually have to pay. Will that be linked to the payment section as well? So you can actually automatically.
Correct. So right now, it is not linked to it, but eventually we would be coming up with a feature wherein you can charge for any cancellations. So currently, it would just restrict the user from canceling directly, and they would have to contact the business owner, so that if there are any refunds associated, if there are any fees associated, the business owners can take a call directly. But eventually, yes, we would be extending this for the refunds or charging for a cancellation as well.
Okay, and then Tanya, you had a question about, is this the time frame for multiple locations allowing all forums?
Yeah, so at least as the changelog said that when we can have the multiple location selector, that we can only use the default form. Whereas I have
Right.
clients that, for example, they do like energy work, so they can do it by Zoom and they can do it in person, but they need to ask a few other questions, so they don't use the default forms. So is there a timeline for when we're going to be able to add additional forms to this?
To be honest, no. We chose to go with the default form because usually the use case was just to have a preferred meeting location in that case. But we can definitely think of adding it to a custom form as well. The only problems that we see occurring is, say, if it's a very big custom form, it becomes difficult for the user to choose the meeting location as it would be a separate component, right? But let me just put it in the backlog and we can think of maybe picking it up in Q3 itself.
Is that something that could get accomplished with conditional logic? I'm thinking almost like a hidden field that you pass through the value through the URL. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's getting a little complex, but
Right.
personally, there's a ton of unused space on the left-hand side of the calendar. For me, I think it makes more sense to have the location on the left-hand panel not in the right body.
Got it. We did think of adding it there. The only problem was if somebody has added a description, right? So the user would essentially have to keep on scrolling to identify if there's something that they have to select there, or just to read the description as well.
Also, generally, the order of filling a form, right? You would see on one page, it's a sequence, right? One question after the other. Here in this case, the user would have to interact at multiple sections in the form, which is not that great for user experience.
cool. All right, we can keep moving here. We'll get to these other questions.
Got it. So coming to the upcoming releases for Q3. So these are not all the releases, but I've just tried to highlight a few key items here. First up, we have the payment details in the appointment modal. Here, for every transaction that is made, you would get to see if that was a fully paid transaction on the calendar, or was it a partial payment, wherein what is the paid amount as well as what is the amount due. You get to also see the invoices or the sales receipt. And from here itself, whenever somebody does want to charge for the pending amount, you can just use the charge now functionality. If we already have a card in the system, you can use that. Otherwise, you would be able to just manually add a different card and charge that particular amount to the customer. Next, we have the troubleshooting tool. So this would be coming out pretty soon, wherein you would get to see why exactly a particular slot is not available. So as many of us know, there could be tons of reasons that a particular slot is not shown on the widget. You have a Google Calendar that is blocking it. Your user is not available. Calendar's availability is not there. Maybe you've added a buffer to your calendar. So in order to reduce and remove any confusion that could arise that why a particular slot is not shown on my booking widget for my bookers, we would be introducing the troubleshooting tool, wherein all the slots that are possible for a particular date would be shown, and any slot that is available would be available. But if some slot is not available, we would be showing why it is not available. And essentially using that, maybe if you do want to change any configurations, it can help you in doing so. Right. Coming to a few more releases for Q3. So first up is the hide details of private appointments. So anytime you do choose to create private appointments in, say, Google or Outlook, and those appointments get synced to high level, you get to choose whether you want to show the details of those appointments or you want to hide them. So hiding it would essentially just block that particular slot, and the user would not be able to see the title or who is in that appointment, so your guest or anything, but it would just be like, say, at 1 to 2 p.m. slot is blocked for now. This is primarily for security and privacy purposes. Next, we have adding notes per appointment. So this is again one of the features on the ideas board, wherein users want to have a note section on an appointment level. So any communication that happened with the customer, anything that has to be told, say, to someone else who's going to conduct the appointment. So all such notes can be added to the appointment itself, and that can be seen on the appointment list view. And you would have who created the note, when was it created or updated, and the text of the note, obviously. Next, we have the custom email notifications. So this is again a crucial aspect of sending out your confirmation emails or your reminders. So currently, you can't really edit the content of the confirmation email, but now with this release, you would be able to do that. So you can set what exactly is the message that you would like to communicate to your bookers from the confirmation email. And all the settings would be in the calendar itself, so you don't really have to go anywhere else. In case you want to add reminders or follow-ups, a workflow may not be created. So you can again do it simply with just 2 or 3 basic steps of when a reminder should go out. So how many, say, hours, days before the start time, or any follow-ups that you want to conduct after the appointment has been successfully completed. So all such email notifications can be configured from the settings, and definitely you can configure who it should go out to. So your assigned user, your contacts, any other emails that you would want to add. Next, we have the coupon codes for calendars. So with us adding more and more payment integrations, we've also decided to add the coupon codes here. So it would be a very simple and basic process wherein you just create a coupon code and you share that coupon code with your bookers. On the booking widget, when they are making the payment, they would be able to enter the coupon code. And whatever logic or configuration you have made of how much off a particular coupon code gives, that would be applied while the person is making the payment. And based on that, the final payment would be collected from the booker. Lastly, we have the date-specific hours for users' availability. Another extremely important feature in terms of just scheduling your availability or maybe marking yourself as unavailable. So this is available in the calendar availability right now. With this, the user can essentially tell in one go that whether the user is available for a specific period of time. If they want to, say, take a leave for 15 days, they can simply just edit their user's availability, and any specific hours that they add on top of their regular availability would be always given preference while calculating their available slots, while trying to understand when they are available. Next, we have the custom value selector in your appointment title and your custom location field. So with this, you can directly choose whichever custom value you want to add, say contact name, contact address, contact phone number, your business address, etc. And this would just be simpler so that you don't really have to go find out the custom value, come here and paste it. With the selector, you can simply just click on it, choose your custom value, and that would be added in the desired location. Next, we have the one-time link for service menu. So we already have a one-time link for calendars, which is heavily used by a lot of users. So there was another request for a one-time link for service menu, because many times business owners would want to first verify if the person booking a particular service is valid or not. Do they fit in the requirements? And after the verification, they would want to send out a link for the service menu, which has all their services. So this would essentially help them avoid any spammers. It would help them first verifying that, okay, yes, this is a valid lead, and I would like to send them my calendar availability. And finally, as part of recurring enhancements, in the first phase, the users would now be able to bulk edit and delete your recurring appointments. So you don't really have to go into each appointment to, say, make any time changes or delete the appointment. But with just one click, you get to choose whether you want to change all the upcoming recurring appointments. So change the timing, maybe change the meeting location, edit it, or simply just delete it altogether. So these were a few of the items that you can expect in the first half of Q3. And then in the next town hall, definitely we'll come up with some more amazing features as well. Also, any specific use cases, if you would like to discuss, feel free to book a call with us. We'd be happy to do that.
Right. There's a few questions that are getting answered in the chat, but Tony, do you have something for us?
Yeah, I've asked several times, are there calendars are very meeting centric. For example, if someone clicks on the link to cancel a meeting, it says your meeting's being canceled. But I mean, calendars can be used for a wide range of things like reservations, tours, appointments, sessions. Are there any plans to be able to have a custom label for a specific calendar?
Right. Yes, we do have it in our roadmap. So I can't really commit on a timeline if it would get picked in Q3 or not, but yes, that is there on the roadmap and we will be prioritizing that soon. So you'll basically get to choose what you want to call, say your meeting, your appointment, your service, and anywhere that particular value is used, it would just be replaced by the value that you've given us, so that any communication with your bookers is seamless.
Correct. Any way to increase the urgency of that?
Sure.
Ideas board.
Could you just put it on the ideas board, please?
Sorry.
It would help us prioritize this.
Okay, thank you.
If we had $1, it is important. I see where you're coming from for sure. But yeah, we just need to be able to quantify it. AJ.
Thank you, Ryan. Swadha, thank you again for the call the other day. Just a few questions. The new steps that you guys have created. So one of my issues, just for anyone that doesn't know the context of the conversation, is to be able to add guests without having to click the add guest button. A lot of people are forgetting to click the add guest button, and they just go through the process. And typically our customer base are hospitality. Is it possible to somehow, or have we figured out a way to somehow just have guests as part of the form? And if so, when they do fill out the guests section, will it minus off the inventory of the amount of slots available during that session?
Right. So for now, you can have it mandated as a value of adding guests in the form, but that would not really like reduce the number of slots that are available. So we would have to come up, like basically build a new configuration or a feature altogether for that. But if you just want to have the number of guests that somebody would want to add, a custom form with a mandated field could help you out.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, I think this is kind of getting into potentially a requirement for a different type of calendar. Like in I hate to say event because that's kind of what it is, but events or like hospitality is a big one too, where it's like, okay, you're gonna have like 3 or 4 short-term rentals and you want to be able to book them for like certain days. I've noticed that in that use case, which I think is a pretty decent size one, there's not really the ability to expand, when the availability is and then manage the inventory of those. So we might need to think a little bit on that one, but it's an interesting use case for sure and one that I could kind of see implementing.
Thank you.
Cool. Charles, did you forget your question or he's still on.
No.
All right.
Well, to that point, I mean, do we see what I think would be, I see the same thing on the guests on just regular, I don't need, like, I'm not renting property or doing hospitality. So, but I could see where it would be nice to be able to take the guest section and put it in the widget order as a separate step. If I want to force it in front of people, I can put it in the widget order and place it after, the form before the date selector, or however I want to arrange it. I could see a definite use case for that.
By the way, are there going to be any guests here? Yes or no? If yes, please.
Yeah, because I think we are cramming to it's not user friendly as it is in the calendar, even with default forms or very short forms, because you have to constantly scroll and there's really no good indication that there's more, quite honestly. Yeah, I think putting more into the widget order, or actually utilizing, capping the description to, of the calendar to so many characters so that you can leverage some of the left-hand sidebar that's, for probably more people than not, is blank. I get it. There's probably people that put a ton of description in there, but I'd say that's not the majority of users, if I had to guess. So that, and then the other part, it was brought up a couple times in the chat. Company availability was taken out of business profile. It was put in the calendars as a coming soon. When is it coming?
So the account availability, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, for like holidays and different, because even if we don't have specific days, we can at least say, okay, the company we know is going to be closed this Friday or, this Thursday because of the holidays. So we don't have to go into users or calendars and update the availability on all those separate calendars. We used to have it, and then it got taken away and put under availability, but then it was never actually, there's nothing there. It just says coming soon. We had this functionality before.
Got it. Can I just
On
get
that
back
point-
to you on the... Sorry, yeah.
What Charles there actually be made default in calendars. In other words, the company is unavailable during holidays, and that's a default. And those companies that actually operate during holidays, hospitality companies, they would simply then just uncheck the box.
Ikshan, I'm sorry, I lost you at the end.
I'm saying, can we not make holidays, okay, a default option, unavailability on holidays, a default option? And anyone who actually wants to make themselves available on holidays will then uncheck that box.
Can't
Right.
do that.
So currently,
Can't do that
I
because
don't...
every country's different. Every business celebrates different holidays. So there is no universal holiday calendar for any business or any country. Because they're all
Specifically talking about, well, in our country, for example, there's 12 statutory holidays. So everyone actually has access to those holidays. It's the same for the UK, I think it is for other countries. Many countries are actually does have statutory holidays. I know in the US it's not the case, but yeah.
Right. So we do have plans to incorporate the holiday aspect of it, wherein you get to just add your holidays, obviously not by default. So because every country might have different types of holidays, or when on a specific date the business would like to be shut. So, but it has not yet been prioritized for Q3. It might be picked up in Q4. And Charles, for your question, let me just get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Did you have another question there, Ikshan?
I had another question. It's completely unrelated. A couple of tunnels back, we talked about hiding the identity of webinar course participants when they book on a course calendar, for example. I don't know whether there's been any further conversation by the dev team or the product managers around that.
Right. So we have not been able to prioritize that in this quarter. But if this is not already on the ideas board, could you please add it there? So just like maybe you can put it on the ideas board, and according to the prioritization, we can pick it up.
And then okay, yeah, looks like got some styling questions that's being answered in the chat. Cool. Anything else that hasn't been addressed either in the chat or verbally?
Another one, sorry guys. Booking within WhatsApp. I know WhatsApp is a different product manager, but I hope
Right.
you are having a conversation.
Yes. So we do have a call scheduled with the PM there as well. So we are trying and seeing, okay, how we can actually bring both of them together. We do have that conversation going.
Okay, cool. Charles?
I was just
Selection.
I was just going to quickly add, if I may, on the reservation part, if there's any workarounds you have, do let us know, because I think that High Level has a very good chance of competing with the likes of the Fork and many, many other people that are out there ruling this industry, and they're actually charging per person seated. And that's why I think that there's a very strong commercial edge for high-level resellers to gain some of that market share in the reservation space, especially. I've got a restaurant group that has 700 restaurants that I'm struggling to onboard because of these pushbacks. So if for some chance we can get it on the next, roadmap, it would be greatly appreciated. I was
Right.
avoiding
So
coming in and giving the extra push, but I think I had to.
Right. So AJ, in terms of reducing the number of slots in a class, so I think you've been using a class booking calendar, right? So that is already in the works. The only problem here would be the mandating of adding guests. So with the class booking enhancements, you would be able to add guests, and whatever number of guests you add, those many slots would be reduced from the capacity. We would just have to figure out a way of how we can ask the user to mandatorily add the guests, because I think that was the main concern wherein they just simply ignore the add guest button, right?
Correct.
Got it. Noted. I'll just put it down, and then maybe we can have another discussion on this.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, for the record, I think that this is totally valid, and I think that, maybe we need to take this up with Shivam and see if there's like a different type of calendar that we could redesign around this to really fit the hospitality space / restaurants or what have you. But yeah, we'll take a look at that. Charles?
With the multiple payment providers coming into calendars, are there going to be more options available than just stick your price, stick your description, and turn on? Like selecting which payment provider I want it to go through. If a client has multiple providers, but they want their appointments for whatever reason to go through a separate one than they do their invoices, is there going to be more control coming to that?
At least not in this quarter. In this quarter, it would just be whatever the default you've selected in your payments module, that would be used in the calendars as well.
Okay.
All right. Anything else before we wrap up early here?
Appreciate it. You guys have a great holiday.
Yeah, and I caught the tail end of that discussion. So did we already share our ideas about splitting the calendar module into 3 with the group here?
Not yet.
Got it. So here's the crazy idea. The calendars, right? Like what we are trying to do is we are trying to take common feature sets of common calendars that have common behaviors and basically break this into 3 products. So one is going to be the Calendly style, sales support use case kind of a calendar where all you need is a 15-minute, 30-minute, 60-minute booking link and that kind of thing, right? And then the round robin features, team assignment features, all of those go here. So this is one type of calendar. The second type of calendar is mostly around calendars that need objects, like the restaurant example, where you have to create a table layout, and you have to sort of look at, are the tables vacant or not, or maybe a med spa which has limited seats, limited equipment, or maybe a massage parlor which has limited rooms, that kind of thing. So this is the third kind of calendar. And the event bookings will also sort of go here, because like you have X number of seats, like let's say you have a stadium to fill, you add that seat count, and that's what you optimize for. So this is the second kind of calendar, right? And then the third kind of calendar is the equipment rental, Airbnb kind of a management, multi-day events, tours and travel, that kind of use case. So these are three separate kinds of calendars. They behave very differently. And if we try to solve everything in a single product, it becomes very complex. So yeah, I mean, we are thinking that we break this into three parts, and then the agencies can enable or disable whichever kind of calendar they want for certain locations. It can be connected to a SaaS plan at a feature level as well. But yeah, I just wanted the opinion of the community on this.
Thank you for chiming in, Shivam. That was the context we definitely needed. It sounds like we're going in a really good direction there.
Love that idea.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It simplifies it for a lot of users too, because if we know that our target market is not going to use any of that stuff, we can just turn it off and they never see it. And they don't see all this other stuff that they don't even understand what the heck it is. And it just confuses them. So
yeah.
Good timing, Shivam.
Yeah. I think
Swadha was holding back on us.
You got to wait to the end for all the good stuff. So
yeah.
It's our little, it's our hook. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much to all the U.S. folks. Happy Independence Day. Happy 4th. Stay safe, please. We look forward to seeing you on the next one. And until then, take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.